As an African child, you are disadvantaged in life. And that is why you need a thorough recalibration and regeneration. There was a time whereby, as young as we are, we celebrate people who are doing great work more than we celebrate people who have money. We sit down, we want to sit around them. We want to listen to them talk. Not because they have money, but there is something way deeper than money that makes us want to be around those people. It is because they live a life that touches other life. All of a sudden, we all want to be a content creator. All of a sudden, we all are tilting away from our life and entering into a one big box. There are no innovators again. There are no inventors again. We have a design of what dreams should look like, what opportunity should look like. An opportunity should come wearing suits with bag of money and a contract. Ask everybody. That's what we are looking for when we talk about opportunity. Sometimes opportunity can be as funny as the problem we are facing in the environment. Africa is in talent deficit. Africa is in potential deficit. Africa needs people that will rise to the call. Africa needs people that will question stuff. Africa needs people that will break the status quo that is keeping people.
So I saw this interesting stats, and it says that 81.5% of you that watch our content are not yet subscribed. And guess what? I understand. It is totally understandable, but please can you double check if you subscribed? I mean, this helps us in numerous ways. And let me make a commitment to you. If you subscribe, I'm going to fight harder and harder to bring you guests that will not just educate you, but will also inspire you. I'm making this promise from the bottom of my heart. Please subscribe. Thank you so much. Minkail Olaitan, welcome to the pod.
Thank you very much.
I mean, when I ask people, how are you? I'm sure there's this straight answer they want to give me, but I just want to know how you're doing. How is everything with you?
Well, I'm okay. I'm faring well and trying as much as possible to get better.
When you talk about better, what do you mean?
I mean better.
Better, like what do you mean?
I mean to be able to do everything I want to do, to be able to touch people I want to touch, and to be able to manifest at a level I've always imagined.
Yeah.
So I think that's my own better.
That's pretty good. So, for people discovering you for the first time, who is Minkail Olaitan? Beyond the titles, beyond the works and everything.
Minkail Olaitan is just that inquisitive young man. I like to ask questions, and I leave a lot in my head in the sense that I like to find the alternative ground when people are having dialogue about certain matter, maybe state matter, personal matter. I just try as much as possible to find a way to look at it in a different way. And sometimes I don't have to talk to anybody. I just have to sit with it. And somehow I realize that I'm already in a coterie in my head. That is a meeting whereby there are a lot of enlightened people dialoguing that same matter. And sometimes I will just come out and I'll say, I think this is what I think. And people will be like, that's absurd. I say, well, maybe that's what I think.
Yeah, so if okay, of recent, I felt like if I want to have a great interview with people, thinkers, amazing people, I just want to dive into your childhood. How was childhood like?
Well, that's an interesting question. My childhood is not bad. It's okay in the sense that for me, it was a journey from one hand to another. You know, my parents were not together. So it occurred that I will have to pick one side of the family to live with. So it was a situation on ground. So I had to pick one. So at some point I had to live with my father's side of the family. Then at some point I had to move to my mother's side of the family. And those journeys were interesting. They were interesting not because they were jolly movement. They were interesting because I later find out that nothing is actually wrong with life. Sometimes it is our inability to embrace the things that happen and to find a way to find our story out of it that makes it unbearable. So for me, at the moment of the event, it was not something rosy. So as life goes on, I realized that, okay, I think this is forging me. And as I used to tell people, I think I came to knowledge early. So those experiences makes up the formative stage of my understanding of life. Sometimes you just have to be a transitory person. And at some point, you have to find a place you sit and say, this is my home, right? And when you finally find that will make you appreciate the time you were a journeyman. So those are the things that end up coming to me and makes me realize that maybe life was not wrong. Maybe life was actually building me. So my childhood was like that. It was moving from one place to another. And, the pain of moving from one place to another is that you have to learn to adapt to new culture, to new persons, to new rules all over again. That's the reality of mine.
Wow, that's truly amazing and inspiring. But what was the hardest thing you carried as a child that most people around you never really saw?
The hardest thing I carry? Wow. I think the hardest thing I carried was that I too want to experience what it feels like when a child sits between his or her parent and they have this intimate dialogue. Or they have this moment where one is saying, do this, do that. And all those moments where you play around and stuff like that. I used to see it in the movie, and I used to see my friends' parents and them do something like that. So that is a kind of heavy something for me. In fact, when I was in secondary school, there were times where during PTA's meeting, when our parents would come around and you will see the friends jumping on their parents and stuff like that. I'd be like, that's not mine. And, it's very painful. And there's no way I'm going to express it to people, especially people of my age at that time. It's something you just have to live with. And after everything, we go back to field and play football together. So it disappears on the field. So that's how it works.
Yeah. So if you had to look back at a lot of people have made our childhood, even right now, people have made impact in our lives. And so looking back, who made that lasting impact on you growing up?
My grandpa. Oh, wow. That man is late now. My grandpa was a thoroughbred disciplinarian. But what I mean by that is this man will make sure that I pay for every wrong thing I did. And at times it was like, this man was a typical devil, But after several years, when I look at the way I think about things, the way I relate with people, the way I treat people, the way my moral standard is, I think he did something of that important in me. He actually imparted me to that level. There are things that I can never think of doing. Not because I'm incapable, but because he had made me see that if I have to do it, then I have to pay dearly for it. And there are things that, what it used to make me pay dearly was punishment, right? And that punishment was measured, because at some point it would be like your mother will want to, your grandmother will want to come into the scene and say, it's enough and stuff like that. Life, nobody will come into the scene to save you. So I realized that if that payment I paid with my grandfather was like that, I believe life would be more brutal. So I had to cool my temper and say that, okay, I don't have to do it.
We are still on the childhood issue, right? What belief from your upbringing did you have to unlearn before you could become the man you are today?
Well, first of all, I've not become the man I imagined to become. I'm still in progress. So, but there are several beliefs, several of them, that I have to unlearn. And one of the typical ones is that you are where you are because you must be there. No. Maybe I'm here because I have to move from here to where I have to go. It's not where I should be. I'm there not to stay there. Maybe I'm here to move from here to the next place I'm going. So growing up, they make us feel like where we are, there's nothing we can do about it. That's where we have to be. And we just have to fight the demon there, whether we win or not. That is our lot. And then the next thing is, they make us feel like money is with devil. For you to have enough of it, you have to dine with devil, right? And the next thing is, they somehow make us think that being humble is equal to you not having your voice. I don't know if you get that.
Yeah.
Somehow when you are in the house, especially when you are a child, you realize that when your father is talking, it doesn't matter whether you have something to say about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether your take could actually mean something, but you cannot say anything. The next thing is, even the community, when you try to stand up for yourself, you are rude. Even though you are caught, you are very humble with it. The moment the scope and the idea of what you're trying to say means that you are trying to say that maybe we can do it in this place rather than what you are saying, you are rude. And I have to grow up to realize that, okay, maybe I'm not rude. Maybe they are just not capable of accepting the truth that even a kid can have something to say. And that is a painful thing that a lot of youth will face while growing up, especially in the past. I don't know now, because I realize that there are a lot of people now that they can say anything, especially the Gen Zs. Am I even Gen Z? I don't even know.
Yeah, we are Gen Zs now.
So I think my own Gen Z is more not Gen Z. I think it is the last layer of Gen Z that I am. Of course, because I don't reason like Gen Zs.
Yeah, actually.
So I think I don't know. Maybe the old version of Gen Z.
Probably. And you talk about the African child. Give me the context about when, because many times you talk about it, the African child. Give me the context. What are you trying to imply?
The African child is a compound word for every kid who wears black skin. Whether you are here or you are over there, you're an African child. And what makes you a particular African child is that you are usually the scapegoat of your community, of your society. Everywhere you find yourself, you just realize that it seems that you are a scapegoat. Do you get it? So being an African child is like a stigma to some extent. To be an African child is also to suffer dysfunctional background. And usually, the reason I talk most about African child is because I am interested in helping an African child wherever he is to recalibrate himself, to be able to see what is wrong and how he can better fight for himself, and how he can better position himself, and how he can be able to stand as a real person in everywhere he finds himself. Because being an African child automatically debases you. It debases you.
Yeah, so you said that the African child needs regeneration. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Why do you believe what belief has been lost?
Yes, African child need needs regeneration. I mean, thorough one. It needs regeneration because for you to be able to appear rightly and perfectly in the community of humans, I think there are certain degree of understanding, knowing you have to have.
Yeah.
And those knowing, they are not explicit. They are not something outside of you. It begins from yourself. To even know yourself, to even know what you can do. Okay, if you know what you can do, why are you not doing it? And for me to be able to do anything about that, the first thing I ask anybody, my friends, anybody I want to speak to, is that now that you are what you are, now that you are where you are, what is wrong with you? What do you think is wrong with you? And I think people are not sincere enough. So if you are not sincere enough, what happens is you think you are a better person, but you are not, because you don't even know that a lot is wrong with you. I particularly say this, as an African child, you are disadvantaged in life. You are at a very, very deep disadvantage. And that is why you need a thorough recalibration and regeneration. You need to, put your tongue in order. You need to reconstruct your thinking. Somehow you need to think about things the way it should be, because somehow when you look at the way you think, it is being influenced by your dysfunctionalities, which you might not even know exist. And that is why the first question is, what is wrong with you? Once you are able to answer it, I think regeneration journey may begin.
So before I get back into the conversation, I want to take a moment to thank the people who have been supporting what we are building here. If you are looking for furniture that isn't just beautiful, but they are made to last, then I would love you to check Code Domicile Interiors. They make custom furnitures from wardrobes to beds to chairs, kitchen cabinets, office furnitures, and more. Everything is made with attention to details and designed around what you need, not just what is available. If you've been thinking about upgrading your home or workspace, you will find the details in the screen. One thing I've come to appreciate is that a great wig isn't just about looking good. It is about feeling confident the moment you put it on. Whether you're looking for something elegant for an event or something you can wear every day, they create quality wigs that are made with care and designed to look natural. If you'd like to see their collections or place an order, their details are on the screen. So let's get back to the conversation. And if you are to look at it, this loss, did you think it came from our society, the school, our church? Like, where exactly?
Where does this issue start from?
Yes.
The issue starts from a lot of places. And if I'm to start anything, I think I'll start with history. If you realize one thing about African history, because there is no way you want to talk about African child and you're not talking about African history, because there is no way you are going to separate an actor from the settings. So you are killing actor automatically if you do that. So looking at the period before the colonial expenditure of Africa, what you will notice was that Africa has several kingdoms, flowering kingdoms. And one of the prevalent things you will notice about those kingdoms and their culture is that they are actually strong people. I think to some extent they are decent people, and not only that, they possess a very, very interesting sense of moral. Till you get it. So that creates a kind of contrast to what we are saying now. If before colonialism, African as kingdom, they were fearful of the repercussions and the nemesis of their actions, and then some of them are actually doing great works. You know, you look at the Timbuktu schools, you look at people from across Sahara, the kingdoms around Sahara, you look at the kingdom from the Northern Highland, you realize that, okay, if these people can be living these glorious life. What happened to African child? Then that leads me to the first situation, the first issue the African child has, where it can be traced to. It can be traced to the sudden falling apart of what African culture and leadership, political leadership, used to be. It's more or less like someone is at the top of the world, and all of a sudden a superior system came, destabilizes it, and suddenly subjects those people who used to be on top of their world into a rulership of another leader. And when something like that happens, people don't really understand the scope. But let me say it now. It does not only bans on your activity, physical activity, it also dump on your psychological persons. Which means all of a sudden you begin to think like, does that mean this is our new reality? And when that thing continues long enough, guess what happens? You accept it. That is our reality. I think we don't have to try as much as possible to fight to be like these people. We can't be like them. We are just little gods or little things compared to the amazing person that these people are. So all of a sudden, the inferiority complex the African child felt was learned. It was passed down. In fact, I consider it to be his birthright after the advent of colonialism. And not only that, then the parent did the work of cementing the psychology. In fact, there is a particular, is it a writer or philosopher, Ahmed Killer. He mentioned something about the destruction of childhood. And in his own context, he talks about how parents substitute a lot of things that could have helped enhance the children's mentality and brain. But what you will see when you transpose this particular idea to Africa is that you realize that African child suffer suppression, marginalization, even among the people he considers to be his family. And it is a construct of the culture, right? But when you look at even that culture, you realize that it is a substrate of what is learned. It's a substrate of what is learned. So one of the ways that African child contacted his limitation is through his history. He learned it. In fact, he received it at a birthright. Then the next thing is, he himself, he does not even have the institutional wherewithal to break himself free. So whatever he sees around him actually suppresses him the more. You look at your environment, you realize that even the value code are suppressing you. You realize that even there are some things you cannot say in church. There are some things you cannot say in mosque, which stops you from expressing yourself as an African child. And that is why when African child want to express, you can see it all around you. Rather than expressing in a critical way, in a very, very eloquent manner, you see that you notice that we do it violently. It is a war from within that have to break free by fire, by force. And for us to be able to express, there is something called to be well constituted. It means that you have outgrown the chain that binds you. You are now beginning to see that you are a co-partaker in the making of your society, not as a lab dog or a lab rat in the wide expanse of that society. So if you cannot grow through it through knowledge, grow through it through mentorship, grow through it through sincere learning of yourself, all you'll be doing is you will be fighting every day. That is why if you want to hold argument or a discourse with a fellow youth, an African child, guess what happens? The moment you begin to push out critical questions, the moment you are being factual and disposing the syllogy of their arguments, guess what they do? They turn violent. It is them trying to fight the system within their head that has locked them. And so I feel like what the African child suffer from, the parent, the system, the history, the community, the environment, everything comes together to form a big chain around the African child's neck. And it's painful because it has to go through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's to go through a lot. It's painful. So if there's one thing you have to change about the way we are brought up, what would that be?
You see, I think it is funny. The reason it's funny now is the Gen Z generation. We think we are solving the problem of, I'll start from there. We think we are solving the problem of, they don't allow you to express. They don't allow you to do this. So you have to come out and just say anything you want to say. That began as a way of us trying to posit a solution to the problem of they don't allow you to speak. All right? But suddenly, when the solution you are preferring is not well anchored on a superior reason and knowledge, it falls apart. And when it falls apart, it becomes a shard. And a shard, guess what it does? Whatever side you hold it, it hurts you. So I think the solution is a systemic integration of mental freedom into our community, in the family, in the school, in the church. And what does that mean? It means that when you are giving a child a freedom, do not throw the news away. When you are saying you have the privilege and you deserve to speak, do not say that you can speak anything. I think it is important to also hear that you can speak, but speak sensibly. Right? You can ask questions, but ask in a way that even when they ask you the same question, you want to answer. And I used to hear people, there are no silly questions. Of course, there are silly questions. Yes. There are questions that when you look at the person who asked it, it feels like you should do something that's not good to them. So when I think about the question you ask, I feel like one thing that should be done is to systemize the freedom. And in a way that makes both ends to enjoy it. For instance, look at your house. You can't use phone before. You are too young to use phone. Now, because you want that person to experience freedom of expression, don't just throw phone at them. Tell them you can use phone, but at this time, at the period of the day, after you have done this, and these are the places on your phone that you can go. That is still freedom. But you can't just leave them to swim in the whirlpool of life. That will hurt them, and it will hurt you too. So freedom should be systemized. And that will enable African child to also rise to the occasion of his own life.
Profound. That's so profound. So you made a powerful statement.
Okay.
I have it down, so I'm going to read it. You once said that the Nigerian dream is even worse than the African dream.
Oh, really?
What life experience led you to that conclusion?
Life experience. Wow. How do you even get that?
Most of those things that you post.
Okay. What make me thought of that is because looking at, I just stay one place one of those days, and I was like, why do Nigerians think this way? And why do we make these things dream to begin with? And all of a sudden, I begin this aggregation. Okay, this is African dream. This is what everybody believes to be African dream. But compared to Nigerian dream that we have, it's very, 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 very bad and worse, if I will say the truth. Here is how I define it. When you look at Africa, you realize that everybody want to fight for liberation. We want economic liberation. We want all of those things. they're amazing things, right?
Yeah.
Everybody want to be part of it. Everybody want to fight for the general freedom of African child and stuff like that. But come down to Nigeria, what you realize is that all of a sudden everybody wants to japa. And when you look at that dream, I used to think this way. I said that what could make a person dream of this? What could make a person think of wanting to have this? When you look at it closely, you realize that it is a result of a certain thing. And that thing that happened, the issue that happened originally, is one that bet that dream, not the dream they want for themselves, essentially. Okay, Nigeria is unbearable. The next thing you want to do is move out of it.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You will see that it is the unbearable nature of Nigeria that bets the dream of wanting to move out. Right? Which is not wrong. When somewhere is not unbearable, you want to move out. It happened in America when America was just a free world or a new world. You realize that even the people that were persecuted in Europe ran to America. People that were looking for green pasture ran to America. Interesting. But I never for once saw, when I was reading all of those documents, all of those history and accounts on people that moved there and consider it to be a dream. Until this generation, when moving out of your country is a dream. Not only that, you see a Nigerian, typical Nigerian, wanting to have a certain amount of money. Right? You ask, why do you want it? Is this the original dream? And you realize that even they themselves cannot defend their dream. They can't. They just feel like, since I'm broke, I need to dream of having money. Money is not the issue, right? But is that what you want? You see, the way I define the term dream, I think maybe it's the one that is different. And this is how I define dream. Dream is a centerpiece of your life. It is what you wake up every morning to pursue. It is what you sleep thinking about. So imagine if all you wake up every morning to pursue is moving out of your country. Imagine if what you wake up every morning or what keeps you awake every night is having a certain amount of money. Except it is attached to the initiation of that original dream of yours. Those things are not dream. But you look around, people are even going to church to celebrate. Thank God I apply for visa to move to this thing, and it happens. Is it supposed to be something worth celebrating? Think critically about that. Is it supposed?
Definitely not.
But the situation on ground makes it feel like it is a dream. And that creates I don't want to say some words, that creates a very, very trivial nature of the kind of dream Nigerians are pursuing. Remember when we were growing up, we used to have a dream of becoming something. When you look at the dream we want to become, even while we were young, you realize that they were attached to solving problems. We were young. We're not exposed to life yet. But there is this consciousness we have that your dream is not only about you. It's also about anybody that come in contact with you. Right? But all of a sudden, that dream disappears. And then the situation on ground creates a necessity. And that necessity is what we call dream. You know, it is necessary to move out of your country because it's unbearable. But it's not supposed to be your dream. You can move out, not bad. But making it and treating it as your dream makes it worse. And the reason I say that is I try to compare these things together, African dream and Nigerian dream. I realize that, guy, I think people have stopped dreaming in Nigeria. And I'll give you an instance. Maybe you can take a close look at it. There was a time whereby we ourselves, as young as we are, we celebrate people who are doing great work more than we celebrate people who have money. We sit down We want to sit around them. We want to listen to them talk. In fact, we want to be friend to their children. Not because they have money. They may have money, which is not bad, it's good. Money is good. Money is life. I believe so. Right? But there is something way deeper than money that makes us want to be around those people. It is because they live a life that touches other life. And because they do that, we feel like, I want to be like Lagbaja. All of a sudden, we all want to be a content creator. All of a sudden, we all are tilting away from our life and entering into a one big box. And that is why when you look around us, there are no innovators again. There are no inventors again. Yes, they are, but in their very few number. The reason is the dream has been reduced to triviality. And that triviality, everybody can access it. In fact, it is now part of the bucket list of everyone. And if we are going to be sincere with ourselves, if we are going to be honest in everything we are doing, you realize that we are doing a great injustice to ourselves. And I believe in the nearest future, in place of people who actually solve real problem, I think we'll only be seeing content creator. In place of people who actually want to invent problem-solving stuffs, who want to pursue the idea to the last line, we only see people who want to dance. We only see people who are interested in, so far it gives me money. It doesn't matter whether I hurt anybody. I use X a lot. Everybody is going haywire because of you want to collect money. You don't even care whether what you want to say now is going to be the reason someone is going to kill himself. It is the advent of not having a good dream in Nigeria to pursue. And it's not, I don't blame individual totally. Institution is also part of the problem. Institution is not inclusive enough. In fact, as it is put in a book, Why Nations Fail, one of the prominent reasons why nation and people within it fails to dream big is when the institution is extractive. It doesn't create a level ground for people to thrive. It doesn't create a system whereby everybody can actually say that, okay, if I have a good dream and I know how to present it, I think there is someone somewhere very close to me that I want to fund it. There is someone somewhere that I want to be a partner. There is someone somewhere, or there is a government provision for me to be able to access loan easily. Not that I have to know someone who then know another person who will be able to offer it. So when institution is restrictive, is extractive, and limiting, you see, people also shrink themselves to fit that scope. And that is why I made those statements that time, that Nigerian dream is worse than African dream.
And so, man, oh, wow, honestly, you're a great teacher.
Thank you.
You're a great teacher. And so, if you are to look at the problem, the biggest problem, is it lack of opportunity or lack of belief? Because you said something really profound that I picked. You said everybody wants to become a content creator.
Of course.
Right now. And it is true. I have someone who is a lawyer. Instead of pursuing that, then the person decided that he wants to be a content creator, leaving what he studied at the university. And so do you think this is just lack of opportunities or lack of belief?
I would say it is a means of both. And the reason I would say that, but I think when I say it's a means of both, I'll I'll tilt towards one more than one, right? There are no opportunities for a fact. For a fact, there are no opportunities. And it's not that there is totally no opportunity, but there is this paradisical thought we have in our head that makes us downplay most of the opportunity that goes before us. And it is that we have a design of what dreams should look like, what opportunity should look like. Opportunity should come wearing suits with bag of money and a contract. Right? Ask everybody. That's what we are looking for when we talk about opportunity. Sometimes opportunity can be as funny as the problem you are facing in your environment. When there was a time I was having a session with someone, and I told the person, I said that every time we want to start a business, we are much more interested in how we are going to fund it, and we say that we are looking for capital and stuff like that. Do you know that the problem you build your business around is a capital? Do you know? The capital. It is an opportunity. There is something called creative destruction. Creative destruction is a phenomenon that happens when someone creates or invents a solution, and that solution creates another kind of problem that another person will have to solve. That's what happens all around us. You see, when someone solves a problem, do not say that, and that's my solution. That problem that is being solved is solved, fine. But that solution will create another problem. All of us are saying that there are certain food that you have to be eating until you start eating those food, and they say that those food, when you eat them too much, they cause cancer. I know when they find solution to cancer, you realize that the drug for cancer might develop another fault, and they will say that when you use that drug too much, this is another disease that will happen. You like paracetamol, when you use it to some extent, it beats another problem. And I'm not trying to say that we don't want to solve problem, or we are not looking for opportunities. But I think we are focused on stuffs that are not interesting enough. When you focus on the problem, all of a sudden, somehow, you begin to meet people who are also interested in that problem. And another issue we are facing when it comes to opportunity is we do not want to meet people. We want to own the entire of the rabbit. We want to be the only one who solves the problem. But as you are pursuing your opportunity, also be interested in people who are also interested in that problem or in that opportunity. Because somehow, they know people who you don't know.
Sure.
And people who you don't know have a key to one door. And until you're able to meet people, you will not be able to leverage the person who they know. So that is that on opportunity. Yeah, there is no opportunity, but maybe there is opportunity as well when we begin to look at what is not working. And we try to pitch ourselves as a solution to it. And we are eloquent enough to present that solution in a way that someone wants to help us bring it to life. Then there is aspect of belief, right? When it comes to belief, some of us, we have lose interest in ourselves. And someone said something. He said that the greatest kind of offense is when you don't trust yourself. You are doing a great disservice to your own life. And it's not because you don't believe in yourself alone. It is because you read scripture and said, from the abundance of your heart, that is where your life springs forth, right? So because you do not believe in yourself, there are a lot of things that could change your life that you will not believe. There are a lot of things. I mentioned content creation the other time, and I'm not saying this to try to balance that. I'm saying this so that you can know that there are some particular time when a lot of people are looking at content creators. What are you doing? What is that? Dancing before a camera. Does that even make sense? All of a sudden, imagine they had somehow, and I'm not saying it's a dream everybody should pursue, anybody should pursue, but imagine you are that person who likes to speak. Imagine you are that person who is a custodian of a certain scope of knowledge. Imagine that person start standing in camera as early as possible. So that become a household name in that space. There are some person that could fill that gap indeed. So that is what it means when we begin to live our life as if, I don't believe this, I don't believe that. What are you going to believe? Because nothing comes to us in a way that we have to believe it. We all breathe in air, right? But how do we believe that the air we are breathing the next minute is going to be the good one or the bad one? We all believe we have to be successful, right? How do you know that you're not going to die tomorrow? We all believe that when I send message to someone is going to reply. What makes you think that? You see, there are little ways we exercise belief. I think we have to upscale it to believing that it is possible to do great things. It is possible to step out of our house today and someone will meet you and we say that, what do you do? And you will tell them and we say that they have been looking for you. It is possible to walk to your church and the first person you meet is saying, I've been looking for you for long. What do you do? And they are interested in what you do. It is possible that your pastor call you on the altar and say that there is one boy I've been looking for. It is possible, and you have to start with belief. So that's why I say it is a mix of both. You say there is no opportunity. Maybe it is your belief that there is no opportunity. Maybe there is. Because naturally, I believe there are opportunities. In fact, Tony Robbins said something powerful. He said, you are not experiencing life. You are experiencing the life you focus on. It means that life is a very big thing beyond you. If you say you are experiencing life, it means you are over gratifying yourself. You are not that big, right? But the only thing you can experience in life is that aspect of life you focus on. You see, if you focus on the aspect of life that you don't believe in things, nothing will actually work. But when you focus on the aspect of life where you believe in stuff, when you say that, okay, this thing that I'm doing is possible that this thing gets better. It's possible that the world knows me through this. It's possible that I become this and this and that. Yes, you are going to experience that aspect of life that you believe. So to conclude, somehow we are lacking opportunity. Somehow we are also lacking belief. And if you match both together, my answer is simple. Pursue opportunity and have a belief in your heart that you are going to catch it. I think that's my own way of listening to it.
Wow. That's amazing. And so I want to ask you, why did you dedicate your life to youth development and self-reconstruction? Like, why is it that out of all those paths, this is like the path you decided to go through?
It is because I believe. That's an amazing question, by the way. It is because I believe that there is a crossroad for everybody's life. There is a formative year. If you have read several of biography, you realize that I think the first chapter is called the formative year. Is it the first chapter? I think the second chapter or thereabout. But the truth is, if you fail to raise a child, what you are doing, you don't even know the gravity and the magnitude of the evil you are doing. So the gravity you are doing, let me give you a snippet of it. When you fail to raise your child, what you are saying is you are sending a terrorist into a community. Yes, that's what you are doing. You see, the role of parent is not only to love each other. In fact, it's not only to love the children. It's to ensure that the children that move out of their care into the world are peacekeeper into that world. That they are conduit of hope into that world. They are agent of forwardness into that world. And the only way you can be assured of that is when you construct them in that manner. There was a research sometimes ago that says that all of us, we came blank into this world. And suddenly there is another research recently, I think 2 years ago, that says that not all of us came here blanco. Some children, some infant, they give birth to them with a construct of their own. I don't know. Maybe those are exceptions. I don't know. But a research proves that there are some children that they give birth to that they have the pattern that they want to live. Imagine that pattern is destructive. And you as a parent fail to construct them into a kind of person that will move out of your care into the world and be a peacekeeper into that world. In that world, you are sending a terrorist into the world. And when we look at it closely, it will be your fault. Because you see them and you don't construct them. So when I realize that a lot of us move out of the care of our home without being well constructed, what I notice is I think we would need to dedicate some of our time into raising the kind of youth who are ready to move things, who are ready to stand in gap, who are ready to make a difference. In 2007, there was a it's not a podcast, yeah, there was a TED Talk where a man called George Aite delivered a speech titled the making of the cheetahs, the tribe of cheetahs. And when you look at that speech, it was talking about a new generation of people who are going to be forward moving. Not only that, they are going to be well constituted. In fact, they are going to be well constructed to the extent that they won't feel comfortable being chained. They won't feel comfortable, feel marginalized. They won't feel comfortable being suppressed. They won't feel comfortable making noise. In fact, they won't feel comfortable joining the league of people who destroy the construct of their society to where it is. And I think that speech inspired something in me. It makes me see myself as that person who might actually progress the idea of raising a tribe of cheetahs. People who will stand before you and you will say that, of course, this is a gentleman. People who will stand before you and you will say that, of course, this is a leader. People whom you will see and you want to be around them because there is no way you will come close to them. Something powerful will not touch you. And I think that is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And every time I see youth, it's always a burden. I think I need to speak to this person. And guess what success looks like for me? When I see people or a youth after listening to me and say that, I think I want to do better for myself. And not only that, and they say that, Olaitan, can you recommend books? Can you recommend what you consume? And after that, they move forward to, I think I want to launch something. Yes. That's what success looks like for me.
Can you look back to when you were 18 years old? Look back to when you were 18 years old. What was that dream that you had there that you no longer have?
This makes me laugh so hard.
Yes, you no longer believe.
Ah, wow. You make me remember the good old days. When I was in secondary school, I love reading, but the kind of books I love reading are not actually the books that I'm engaging in school. So those were the days where everybody wants to read Ben Carson, right? You know, I think I've read every book of Ben Carson, every single one of them. So, and I read them from secondary school to a while after secondary school. So when I did all of those things, I think it imparted me with a sense of belonging into the family of neurosurgeon. So those periods, I was like, guy, I have to be a neurosurgeon. Yes, I have to be that. And I will move around and tell people this is what I want to be. Some of them will be like this. They will be like, do you even know what neurosurgeon costs? Do you even know what it costs to be one? I said, I don't care. That's what I want to become. And there's a lesson I want people to learn from this. And suddenly, I move on with life, I gain admission, and I'm like, guy, how am I going to become a neurosurgeon? That is when the thought begins to form. I realized that I was in science class, not because I wanted to be in science class. I was in science class because some people gave me a report card of my life saying that I'm brilliant. And brilliant people are not supposed to be in art class. And so I accept that, yes, I'm brilliant, of course. So why would I be in art class? And I joined it, right? If I didn't join science department, there is a probability that I might not be interested in Ben Carson, right? And suddenly, when Ben Carson became a kind of projector of the kind of dream I'm now having at that particular time, suddenly, I asked myself the thorough question, which a lot of us don't want to ask ourselves. I asked myself, is it my dream? Or I'm just contacting this because I like this person? You see, a lot of us are not in journey of becoming. We are in the journey of being. There's a different thing there. Becoming is you wanting to live yourself through time, throughout your every stages of your life. It is you. You are just manifesting yourself, right? But being is what we say to ourselves when we are young. I want to be like Dangote. And do you know why we get disappointed when we say we want to be like Dangote and Dangote managed to do something that pains us? Because we expect Dangote to be in a static mode, to be that Dangote that we know him to be that time forever. And because that is what we're expecting from Dangote, that's what we're expecting from ourselves too. That we should be at a state forever. Because Dangote is what we want to become. So Dangote should wait for us to be like him so that we can be co-Dangote in his own word, right? And suddenly, when I finally answered that question of, I think it's not my dream. It's not my dream. I have been writing for long. There are times I will gather my friends. I will be telling them story. I will gather stories I will go and listen to radio, listen to some stories, and I'll find a way to embellish them to make it sweet. And I will gather my friend at night and I will be telling them story. That is the kind of person I am. So I have been in the business of communicating things to people through words than using apparatus in the hospital. So suddenly I became conscious of what I am and what I want. And I said, no, I don't think I'm going to become a neurosurgeon again. Maybe I'm going to become a neurosurgeon. Maybe it's going to be by helping youth reconstruct their mental self. And I think it's still a neurosurgeon work, just that I'm not holding knife. Now I'm holding words and insight.
Yeah. And looking back today, what misconception do you think people still have about it?
About me?
Yeah. This is just like a self-reflection, actually.
Okay. People used to think, I don't know. People used to think that I'm absolutely boring. I don't know. But I'm not. I'm not. You see, I think I just have the circle where I'm totally free. And sometimes when I find myself somewhere else, I just want to day by day and just look at people how they do their things. And I enjoy looking at people. I enjoy looking at how people do their things. I enjoy it so much. It's not small enjoyment too. I like staying put, not saying anything, and watch everything happen wherever I am. I've just been enjoying. Oh, so this is how people act when they're angry. So someone can act like this when he's angry, when he's hungry, and when something like this happen. And suddenly I will just have all of the data in my head, and I'll go back in my home, and that will be what I will be solving in my head. Okay, why would this person be angry in this way? And that's why people think I'm boring, but I jokes a lot. I crack joke a lot. I play a lot. I can send weird tests to you, and sometimes I can just disappear.
When you talk about weird taste, what does
Weird tests can be that I can just wake up and tell some of my friends like, guy, I say this thing is wrong with you. This. Where are you going to bring this? Where are you going to bring your wife? Where are you going to do all these things? And I can be very, very deliberate about that. I will just wake up one day, I can think yeah, okay. I can think Marike. Oh yeah, how far Aki? How about your wife? Those things are necessary, but I just enjoy doing stuff like that.
So if you had one conversation with every young African listening right now, what would you want them to remember after this long interview? Because you just had like a long interview. What do you want them to know after this long interview?
The first thing I want them to always think about and remember is that they can dream as big as possible. They can fight for anything they want for themselves. They can choose to be what they think matters to them and to the world, and don't care about what anybody will say. Because this life is, I'm young, but what I understand about life and the permission it gives us is that it gives us the privilege of choosing what we want. But the question we never ask usually is, to what extent are we going to pursue it? So I would like every African child to pursue their dream to the end. I would like them to wake up every morning thinking of how their life is going to be a channel of blessing to this generation. And I want them to always remember that Africa is in talent deficit. Africa is in potential deficit. Africa needs people that will rise to the call. Africa needs people that will question stuffs. Africa needs people that will break the status quo that is keeping people banned. And finally, I want us to just express love. You see, James Baldwin says something very concerning. He said, love has never been a popular movement. And I believe it is our generation that it is possible the most. Sometimes you go on Twitter and you see a lot of people raising funds for people. You go here, someone is saying that this person is sick, please help, and everybody is gathering to do that. I think if we love ourselves so much, we'll begin to see that we can't be small. Out of love, you realize that, no, I can't be small for my people. Out of love, you realize that I can't be small for my family. Out of love, you realize that I can't be a problem to this community. Out of love, you realize that I can't be a problem to this country. It is out of love that life emerges. And once we are able to fully do that, I think we'll begin to take responsibility. We'll begin to do that. And maybe, just maybe in our generation, we'll find the tribe called the cheetahs, just like George Aite has projected those years. And I hope we will be the anchor of those amazing group of breeds of people. We will not make noise, and we will make impact. We will not be subjected to forced choices. We will live a life that pick both sides. Yes, I can live long life and still make impact and still have money. I can make impact and still be loving. I can live and still be an amazing person. I can love and still be that wonderful human being. You see, we find ourselves in a world whereby you have to pick one of the two, right? But I'm saying that we can pick both. We can pick both good things. And God will help us.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, my bro.
It's an honor.
This is truly amazing.
I thank God.
I've wanted to have you since then before.
Imagine that.
2 years later, we are doing this. I'm so grateful for it. I'm sure I had this conversation 2 years ago to not be as rich as this.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course.
And so everything happens with time, and I'm so grateful. I do not take this for granted. Guys, let me tell you something. This is 5:52, 6 o'clock. Your business is morning, and just spent the whole day with me. And so it's something that I'm grateful for. I'll never take it for granted.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the wonderful things you are doing. I believe the world needs to listen more to what you are doing, because there is a way of mental reconstruction.
Yeah.
And you touch topics that are actually needful in our.
Thank you everyone for watching this video. If you love it, please hit the subscribe button, like, share, and also follow our social media accounts. Thank you.